Hey, this is Andy Jenkins with the Oily App Plus podcast, and I've got something for you here today that's it's a little bit strange. We're on episode number 100. That means we've done this 99 times up until now, taking some breaks, all that kind of stuff. But for episode 100, we are going to shift from recently we've done the series on fitness with Johnny Williams. We're gonna come back. We had so much information on that really we thought we could just really do 2 runs of talks with these. But the issue is when we get together, we record these live, generally one take in person. And so straight up, we all got together one Friday night, went out, ate a bunch of beef, watched some YouTube videos, laughed too hard, got up Saturday and recorded. And, we generally try to record 4 or 5 when we get together. So we recorded the 5 and then took a break. And so we're thinking we could do that again. We could take a shot at that again. By the way, while I'm mentioning that, be sure to get into Oily App Plus because some of Johnny's graphics, they're now there. And they will give you a unique spin, a creative twist, a lot of more bright, popping color. We've even got some GIFs in there and some motion where he has water flowing out of the bottle, or Ninja flowing out of the bottle, and Zing flowing out of the can. All kinds of creative things you can use just to have fun. Anyway, we're gonna get together and do another fitness series and take that to a whole nother level. But now we are actually gonna talk about this new book that we've just released. So we're gonna do this for several weeks, called Ditch and Switch. So here's the advertisement. All of this is paid for by Oily App and Oily App Plus. Those are educational platforms, resources that you can get on your smartphone. You can log in, watch it on your computer. We have a smartphone app that's like carrying a desk reference on your phone. And then also, right now, I think it's up to maybe 45 or 50 online classes where if you want to learn about Essential Oils 101, you can watch the class. Oils of the Bible, watch the class. You want to learn about the Feelings Kit, watch the class. You want to learn about all things thieves, watch the class. Jim Bob's been even shooting a series on every body system. So you've got something wonky with your brain, watch the class. Or if it's your brain, I guess get somebody to watch the class with you and take notes, right? You got something going on with your heart or your cardiovascular system in general, watch the class, and it'll lead you to some of the best products on the planet to support those different body systems. All right, I'm actually here in Ernie's office. I got chastised when I walked in, and he said, hey, so you guys know, a lot of times I'll shoot live videos in here on our Insta stories, and I'll walk around and go, hey, I think I'm gonna give this away, and I'll just go grab something off the shelf. And Ernie said when he walked in, hey, one thing is like, you can't give away anything off the walls today. And so,
which wasn't my rule, but I'm the messenger.
There you are. I wasn't gonna throw anybody under the bus.
Well, maybe I should say it was my idea, right? I threw myself under the bus. But so the reality is that our office is actually more special than corporate.
More special than corporate? Yeah, because in corporate we walk in and give us stuff. Well, I mean, and in fairness, the stuff I was giving away was like, I gave away like a 25% of a bottle of RC last time that I was up here.
Royal Crown, just add the diamond.
Yeah, but it was like 75% of that bottle is gone, probably in classes where people, here, pass this around, try it. Anyway, okay, so we're going to get into the content. That's enough of that. Let me tell you guys where we're going. We're going to talk about ditch and switch. Now, one of the foundational health concepts. You ready to get into the material, Ernie?
I am.
Okay. One of the foundational concepts that we talk about with Oily App is that your health is as simple as toxins and deficiencies. Everything boils down to that. Now, toxin, you want to take a shot at this, Ernie?
Yeah, so the idea of toxins is keeping it simple. I mean, the whole idea I love of how we approach this is that I feel like that there's been a movement for so long where people have been divested of power when it comes to health. divested of the ability to make decisions and the ability
Right.
to be clear on having an understanding of the parameters of health and be able to be empowered to make decisions for themselves. So that's what we're big about here, is making it simplified so that you can be empowered. So toxins in, toxins out. We want toxins out. So toxins are basically anything that your body comes into contact with that it doesn't need, things that are harmful to it.
So let's give some examples. So, cigarette smoke, that's an obvious
Yep.
toxin, but we've got some other examples on there.
Yeah, artificial sweeteners, high fructose corn syrup, even stress. Stress can be something that's, it doesn't even have to be necessarily like a tangible food item or whatever.
Right.
It can be emotional, it can be mental, it can be spiritual, it can be things in you in coming into your life that are growing inside of you or present inside of you, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that don't need to be there. They're not healthy. Either in and of themselves they're not healthy, or the quantity of them is not healthy.
And a lot of times with these toxins, what you come into with every day, like we think of toxins as big chemicals with the Mr. Yucks sign, or toxins as, these are things stored in barrels. But sugar, it's a lot of the items that in a small dosage every now and then wouldn't be harmful.
Well, perfect example is like even on the side of eating. When I started actually doing MyFitnessPal and calorie count, I did not realize how many calories are in the typical American diet.
Oh, it's
I
massive.
was blown away when I started keeping track. I'm like, how am I not Jabba the Hutt by now? I couldn't believe it. And it's like when my wife Myra, she did this, as I think several of the ladies in Living have. They put together these charts about mapping, makeup and female skincare products. And like by 10 o'clock in the morning, the average female would put on over 200 chemicals on their largest organ, their skin. So you don't even think about the fact that you're either by what you're eating or what you're putting on your body, just things that we assume are normal, that we've never questioned because that's just what we do, because we're Americans.
Right.
And yet the reality is that there's a reason why we have health problems and issues, because we're just doing things and we're just assuming is normal. And, we need to step back and take a better look at it.
All right, so when we're talking about toxins, the thing we want to do with the toxins is to get the toxins out,
Right.
or maybe in some sense, this kind of sounds weird to say, but be aware what toxins are there, because you may very well say, hey, the sugar in the birthday cake is worth one piece every time there's a birthday. Because how many are there? But I'm not going to toxify myself ongoing every single day. If you're doing this Snickers bar every night when you get home with the soda,
that's right. Well,
that's too much.
It's so much fun to watch our kids in their 1-year-old birthday parties. That's when they get their first cupcake. And they've never even had sugar like that for the first year at all.
Right.
So, they get the cupcake, the candle, and then it's a whole mess. It's all videoed and it's hilarious. And their eyes go crazy, like, what is this and why have you kept it from me?
I still remember the first time Emma got hold of a Krispy Kreme donut.
Oh my goodness!
And it was just like she kept looking back at it and then reaching and trying to just grab little pieces of it. Her little baby self. So that's toxins, and what we want to do with toxins is health problems. Again, boil down to two issues. Number one is toxins. We want to get rid of the toxins. The other side of that equation is deficiencies. So whereas a toxin is something that is present that should not be, a deficiency is when something is missing that actually should be present. So let me tell you about one of the deficiencies. We talked about this one a couple weeks ago on the podcast with Johnny. We did a whole episode on rest and sleep. And a lot of people are deficient in sleep. You're not going to be healthy. Or say it this way, some of your health issues could be as simple as your body needs more sleep. Other areas of deficiency might be you're deficient in H2O. You're not drinking enough water. Other examples?
Well, what's cool too about even what you've already mentioned is that sometimes it's not the deficiency is there, but like if you're wanting to, even if there are certain barometers you want to reach about your health, let's say you want to reach a certain workout performance or you want to reach a certain health goal, like weight loss or whatever. Sometimes it can be as simple as shoring up your deficiencies.
Right.
So like recently, in the last few months, I really tried to focus on getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which is sometimes hard to do when you're very driven. But my CrossFit, I do CrossFit like
it might not even be driven. It may be just kids.
Yeah, well, maybe driven plus reality plus necessity plus all the above. Right, exactly. Right.
New baby in the house.
Just trying to be a responsible adult, As hard as that sometimes seems like it is, and so I started trying to, all right, I've got to maximize my time during the day because I've got to get some rest. I'm dragging.
Right.
I started doing that. CrossFit scores go up. Coach even says to me, "Man, your engine's really coming back." And I'm like, "You know why? I figured it out.
It's just sleep.
Because I'm getting consistent sleep. So sleep is huge. I mean, obviously, just even for interpersonal relationships, but obviously, water, H2O, calcium, right? Calcium deficiency is huge. Exercise or movement, making sure that you have a regular plan for getting exercise and movement. You know, even that Johnny highlighted when we talked. For some people, like his mother-in-law, is just walking. You know, but prioritizing. You know, obviously, we've got books on good food is not enough, supplements, whatever those deficiencies are. Because of the things that we do and we built into our lives that we assume are normal, we need to be able to identify those: lack of sleep, calcium, exercise, movement, dehydration. What was the picture Johnny has of the water with the new drops? My brain's just totally lost it.
I know what they are, but I'm gonna let you.
The electrolytes. There we go. Yeah. So those are awesome. So I have them in my water right here, which I won't be slinging around. So, but we're naturally deficient of those, and of course you get those as an athlete.
Yeah.
Growing up as an athlete, playing basketball, the normal thing was Gatorade.
Which is all sugar.
Which is all sugar and colors, artificial colors, and all that stuff, right?
So toxins coming in. Now you're deficient in water because you drank the Gatorade. You really just needed plain water.
That's right. I was cracking up when I saw, I think it was the NBA guy, James Harden. He's endorsed some other competing brand against Gatorade. And he's like, basically his ad was basically, why drink that trash when you can have this? So as people have gotten more healthy, they've even recognized tons of sugar, artificial colors, sweeteners, not good. We need to replace it with. It's trying to address something that we need or that we're deficient in, but it's addressing it in the wrong way.
Right.
So those deficiencies are important. Not just like you said, not just noticing what I am putting in, but what do I need? Which to me is a great helpful thing to step back from the whole thing, and really make use of, like the class Oleat Plus, Jim Bob's Body Systems.
Right.
What does the body actually need? Which you have to understand the basic functions of the body, the basic systems of the body, before you can even address your deficiencies. Because you have to. But the beauty of that, again, is getting back to ditch and switch. When you have that understanding, you have the parameters set for what you need. Now you're empowered to begin to make decisions.
Well, that's the great thing about that class is, this podcast episode wasn't really to plug his classes, but, he breaks it all down there to where your symptoms in your body are generally alerting you to one of those two things.
Yep. To
where there's a toxin in there or there's a deficiency.
Right.
So, and so what you want to do, and what he really, some of you guys have heard Jim Bob, he really masterfully lays this stuff out, is he will explain when this symptom happens, don't treat the symptom or cut off the symptom or cover over the symptom any more than you would tape over a check engine light on your car. You want to see what that check engine light is telling you, and it's telling you that, check engine light on my car is telling me, hey, there's a toxin here. Could be too much heat. It could be too much pressure. It could be too much, or there's a deficiency. There's not enough oil in the engine. And so you don't just treat that symptom. Your body's the same way. And it all breaks down to toxins, things that shouldn't be there, deficiencies, things that you need that aren't present. So I know a lot of you guys know that. Some of you don't, but it's foundational to what we teach.
What I was searching for was vitality drops. That was it.
Yeah, I had it.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. But that analogy of a car is great, because a mechanic doesn't just look at, you need more of this.
Let me take that bulb out and change that.
Step back and what system is this part of? So is there a bigger situation a more foundational problem going on here? Because nobody likes going back to the mechanic, 14 times for the same thing.
No, it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
And we complain it's costing me too much money. I need my car. But our bodies will do it.
Yep.
It's weird. All right, so that's foundational information. Here's how it fits to the entire ditch and switch. By the way, and I'm going to put a link to the book in the show notes here. I would encourage you to go buy the book. It'll cost you less than $15. It's an incredible tool. For the next couple episodes, we're going to walk you right through the content of that book, tell you what's there, how to open it up, how to let it be a great tool for you and your family. In chapter 1, we really talk about toxins and deficiencies. Here's how it fits with the ditch and switch paradigm. You want to ditch the toxins. You want to switch to things that are going to shore up the deficiencies. Okay, let me say it again. You want to ditch the toxins. If it's a toxin, ditch it, or severely, intentionally limit it, i.e. birthday cake. You go watch a movie on Friday night, date night. Yeah, I mean, get you some M&Ms and a soda. But you limit it, knowing that those are toxins. But you know, enjoy your life. Don't live in a straitjacket.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Ramsey, financial guru, right? He says when you budget fund money.
Yeah,
if you don't budget fund money, you'll blow the budget.
So we're saying budget fund toxins. Budget.
If you're going to, if you're going to follow the paradigm of severely limiting it, you know, some people don't ever have them and they can't stand them and they don't want them, and that's incredible. But if you're going to have it, cheat a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
not much. Aim small, miss small.
Well, I've told everybody this story. I think I did it like 3 weeks ago. So like when I go out to eat, if they have a dessert, like bread pudding is my favorite, especially if it's white chocolate bread pudding. And so
that's good stuff.
Yeah, I'll get it every time. If they have it, I'll get it. Even if I've been to that restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah, and put ice cream on it. Like I'm gonna go, but I'll eat 2 bites, send it around the table, and that it just is what it is. I'm gonna limit it, but I'm gonna enjoy that toxin.
Right, for a couple of bites, but then you're good.
And I always remember, golly, I did it. You know, the funniest. Normally the plate goes all the way around. Everybody gets gets their spoon. Not sharing germs. I know we're talking about COVID. Everybody gets a fresh spoon, puts it in. You know, whatever. But it stopped. I remember in Dallas, Brian Tarkenton, Tark the Shark. Like he just
I've never heard that. It's awesome.
It got to him on the table. It was about 6 guys out the night before the advance event. It was advance 10. It got to Brian and it just stopped. He like killed it. It was like
I'm gonna handle this right here, right now.
Yeah. So ditch and switch. Ditch the toxins. Shore up the deficiencies by getting healthier alternatives that aren't just neutral. They actually help you. Now in chapter 2, so that's all in chapter 1. In chapter 2 of that book, we actually get into the topic of greenwashed. Here's why we get into it. Is the reality is you're more likely to be contaminated and have toxins inside your home than you are any other place. So when we talk about a clean living, many times we start looking at the smog over LA, or we start looking at the power lines, or we start looking at the cell phone towers and, EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, or we start looking at, garbage dumps, that are in, certain areas of your neighborhood, or the industrial complex, or all these smokestacks that are coming out. We start looking at all of that, but are we talking about fossil fuels, Everybody needs to drive less. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times when I was driving an 11.
That's been taken care of.
I was driving an 11. I was driving an 11 passenger van.
2020 is the year of no driving and cheap gas.
Well, how many people would come up to you out of driving that 11 passenger van? Not in 2020. That van actually got stolen, but I would drive that van, and people would. It got chop shopped.
Since they must have been for parts, it wasn't for gas mileage.
No, and I can tell you, and I can give you layers of funny story behind that van that maybe will come out on another time at another place. Anyway, people would complain about, man, you're blowing up the environment with these, chemicals and the pollution from this 11 passenger van. But I'm like, dude, I've actually got 10 plus people in the van. Like I've got the van full.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just driving a little 2-seater car. I'm like, yeah, but you got 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. You and your teenagers all have a car, and I'm hauling everybody around, and I'm way more efficient than you. It's easy to look at stuff out there, but here now catch this: the government and marketing tactics actually make it to where you're more likely to be poisoned and toxified. That sounds like doom, 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 doom. Cue the Darth Vader.
That's right.
What's the music?
Evil. Da, 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 da. Oh, yeah. That's right.
You're more likely to be toxified. Is toxified even your word?
It is now.
In your home.
We can invent words. It's 2020, man.
than any other place. So there's this thing, Toxic Control Substance Act of 1976. You weren't even born, are you?
No, that was 5 years before I was born. So I was born into an already toxic environment.
Yeah. So,
but the whole thing about you're saying about the home, I think it's important too. Is like, why is that? Is because home is where you let your guard down, right? Home is where you trust. So the things that you bring in,
you still think about it. You're like, oh yeah, of course this is.
So yeah.
What if it? I mean, it looks clean, smells clean.
That's right.
All right. So, Toxic Control Substance Act of 1976. Let me tell you about that. It provided the Environmental Protection Agency with authority to require reporting, record keeping, testing requirements, and restrictions related to chemical substances and mixtures. That sounds really good, but it did a couple things. Number one is it allowed items to continue in circulation if they were already in products.
Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes it's shortened Toxic Control Substance Act. It's sometimes shortened to TCSA. So we're just going to refer to it as the Act. Okay, so that Act, if the product was already in circulation, even if it had something that was poisonous in it, right, it was allowed to continue. And I remember when I was in elementary school, in 1981, when you're like making your arrival on the planet, I'm in the first grade. I remember the school nurse coming around and she's passing out like these stickers. They were black with and they were fluorescent green, and it had this. It looked like a happy face, except for it was a sad face sticking out its tongue. Mr. Yuck. Mr. Yuck says no. Call poison control. That was the rim around the sticker. Mm-hmm. So you would go and you would get these stickers, and she was tearing off rolls of them. Like we all have got like 8 or 10 stickers each. Which in kid world you're like, oh, this is great. I've got stickers. Right. Yeah. Take these home, kids, and get with your mom and put these stickers on products that are poisonous. So you're thinking that logically in that world, that made complete sense. I mean, of course, all the kids were like, yeah, and then all the moms are like, yeah. And so we all take the stickers home. I remember opening up the cabinets and we're putting it on the cleaners. Never mind that the cleaner is like what we would polish the wooden furniture with. My brother and I would help with the chores. And then we're little. My parents still have that furniture. There are teeth marks on the furniture.
That's right.
I don't know why we would lean on the furniture and gnaw the little wooden balls. But
well, I was holding Haddon this morning, eight and a half months old, and he's got 4 teeth, 2 top, 2 bottom, and some others coming in. And I noticed he's starting to chew on my shirt. So I mean, it must just be like this instinctive gopher syndrome.
Well, so you put that sticker back in 81, you put that sticker on the laundry detergent.
Using.
You don't want to drink the laundry detergent, but you're going to place it on the clothes that you're going to put on your body.
That's right.
So no safety testing, nothing required if you were already using it in 76.
It's like if you create a new plan for, your cell phone provider gets a new plan or whatever. If you have an older plan, they grandfather you because it's just convenient. It's already there.
It's already there. All right, so here's OSHA. Yeah. OSHA studied this stuff. This is crazy. OSHA studies it. They studied 3,000 ingredients, just 3,000. And out of 3,000 commonly used ingredients, 884 were toxic. So now out of that 884, here's the rundown. I'm looking at the notes here from the Ditch and Switch book. This is page 23. 314 are known to cause biological mutations. I mean, that means if you put it on a rat, the rat might grow a second tail. No, I mean, well, we don't know what the mutation is,
right.
But it's toxic enough to cause one.
Something that doesn't seem like it would be natural.
218 are known to cause reproductive problems.
I wonder how many
sterilized the rat.
Well, I mean, but I wonder how many of that right there, how many people who have infertility issues.
Well, that's
potentially because they've got all this stuff going on their skin and in their body, and they don't even realize it.
Well, you've had this stuff incrementally over your entire life.
Yeah.
Women aren't really thinking about having kids until they're. I mean, let's just use the low end: 18, 19, 20, 21, 24. Even now, that age is getting older.
Yeah.
28, 29, 30. So you've got 30 years of all these toxins. 146 of these were known to cause cancer tumors. So These are things that Toxic Controlled Substance Act
That's
allow
what
to
OSHA
continue.
acknowledges. That's their stuff.
Well, they say, yeah, it's like it's there. I mean, we cite all this in the book.
Yeah.
So, like, I know I'm going to get an email, or I'm going to post this on our Insta story. Hey, the podcast is out. Somebody's going to say, hey, can I get all the notes for that? Sometimes some of you that are listening, you do that. And I know you don't mean ill intention. You just want to find our resources because you want to go search it for yourself. And we commend that. In fact, there's this verse in the Bible that says the Bereans were more noble than all the others because when the Apostle Paul taught them something, they searched the scripture to see if these things were true.
That's right.
And that's what we encourage you to do with this, is like just go search it and see if what they're saying is actually true. It's all footnoted, cited in the Ditch and Switch book. Yeah, but like you said, OSHA acknowledges all that stuff's there, but it's just grandfathered in. Here's the other thing that it allowed, and there were three that I want to hit. Number two, again, the goal being to get rid of this stuff and then ditch this stuff and then shore up the deficiencies. So we want to get rid of this stuff. That act also, it had this really weird criteria. So you know about animal testing. And on this podcast, we're not arguing for animal testing. We're not arguing against it. We're just saying it exists. It happens.
It exists.
They do it. All right, people do it. So the criteria for that they used with the act was in order for not an animal, in order for a substance to not be considered toxin, the threshold was 50% of the animals could not die. So you could clearly kill 49% with whatever it is, your cleaning supply, your makeup.
Basically 1 out of 2.
Trident had 4 out of 5 doctors agree. Like there's always that one doctor that didn't agree. I remember growing up in that, and so not 10% of the animals died. Not 1 out of 100. Which would you think if it killed any animal, this would be
like? Maybe we should think about this.
Yeah, think about it.
Why did this happen? Was this related to already pre-existing conditions in the animal? Is there something bad in our stuff?
Well, recently, it came out.
Good to ask.
With everything going on with COVID, they're trying to make a vaccine. Again, I'm not arguing for the vaccine or against the vaccine. Got personal opinions on it. We'll talk about them on a different place. They're testing a vaccine.
Yeah.
And somebody, I think, were they in Sweden? They had some complications.
Yeah.
One person out of thousands had complications. The manufacturer, that manufacturer actually had some integrity and said, we're shutting it down.
Yeah.
Like we're done.
We need the answers.
One person
Yeah.
out of thousands.
Yeah.
But you kill 2 animals out of 4, 1 animal out of 2, you could put it on the makeup. All right, so like the criteria, it seems
weird.
All right, let me give you the third one. This one's weird too. The legislation permitted manufacturers to keep their trade secrets. So if they had ingredients that were together, and the ingredients did get in. So let's say it was an old chemical from 1976 or before. Let's say that only half of the animals died, or less than half of the animals died.
Right.
And they used it. It passed through. Even now, they don't have to tell you the name of the chemical that's in it because it's considered to be a trade secret. Here's how they get around that. I was reading online, a blogger actually says this. I'm going to read it to you. The fragrance perfume industry is protected by patent or trade secret laws. So in other words, when you go through... You walk through the mall and you always have that guy that comes up to you and he's like, excuse me, wants to spritz you, or give you the card. I don't even.
That's right. The card that's saturated in whatever he's.
Yeah. All right. So that fragrance. Just go to what's in it. I don't know. What's the name of it? It's Polo. Whatever.
Funny story about that real quick. So when Myra and I
I'm in the middle of a quote. Okay, tell the story.
Well, so Myra and I actually have about perfume and cologne. So when we were back in the day when we were dating, or to use the homeschool term of courting or whatever, right? We were not allowed to have phone conversations until like, what was it, their junior and senior in college. So we Anyway, crazy story. But so we had all these handwritten letters, and we saturated them in like cologne
Sending
perfume.
letters back and forth.
And they still, and this is from 2000, early 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4.
This is
and
like 18 years.
And they still reek of cologne.
You open up that box. That's just
My word.
It's,
Yeah, we laughed about that. Myra's like, yeah, that's got enough toxins in there to maybe kill one of the two, the 1 out of 2.
and it's got to be cheap perfume that you got at like Walgreens,
we
or
were both in college.
CVS
We
or
didn't have any
something.
money.
It's Old Spice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We thought it was pretty awesome
So
at the time.
All right, so the fragrances
Sorry, go ahead.
in your letters are protected by patent or trade secret laws, which allow Old Spice, Polo. What are some of the other names? Dior,
Yeah.
Cool Water. What else? What else is Dracar?
It's been so long since I
Who
bought
else are some
cologne.
of the names? I'm just thinking of things when I walk through, the mall
or whatever, yeah.
So I don't do that often, but so it allows them to hide any and all ingredients that are in their formulations. You think about that, like, I'd like to know the stuff I'm washing my hands with or spraying on the kitchen countertop, or the stuff that. Fragrances also, they can be a combination of petroleum or non-petroleum derived substances, either way. And some of that means that some fragrances have formaldehyde in them. They have benzene, they have toluene. You don't know what those are, that's all right. We'll come back and talk about it in the next episode. Here's what that means. If you're thinking about where am I finding most of the stuff that are toxins, that are chemicals that I can control, you need to look at your house.
Yeah.
Found a quote online. This one was actually after the finding of a 15-year study by the EPA.
Wow.
So the Environmental Protection Agency that is set in place to protect consumers did a 15-year study. It's cited in the Ditch and Switch book. We've cited on page 25. Stay-at-home moms and women who work from home. And I would say this is probably true of guys, but this is just their study. This is what they cited. So you don't email us and go, well, you're saying men can't stay at home, or you're saying that guys are not susceptible. No, this is their study.
We both work from home.
Yeah, they're like, so we could insert our name in there. Andy and Ernie might be, now here's the actual thing that they said. This is the quote. Stay-at-home moms and women who work from home are 54% more likely to die from cancer than women who don't work from home. Why? Well, because cancer does have some genetical elements to it.
Sure.
Some susceptibility, but doctors are saying it's 90 to 95% environmental, 5% genetic. That 90 to 95% environment, that has to do with what's going on with the environment. And we often think environment, okay, that's the planet around us. That's the, and there is a solid case where we should be environmentally conscious.
Sure.
I mean, that's straight up Bible.
Yeah.
You look in the book of Leviticus, it talks about environmental sustainability.
Yeah. Yep. Making sure and taking, I tell the boys all the time, even in terms of how they even treat animals too.
Well, that's in Leviticus.
Yeah, we have to go through this. We live on a farm, so we've had to do. The boys are really good about it now, but the other day, Nora got some of the kittens kind of really soaking wet, and
Nora's 3.
She 4. I think she was practicing immersion, so we had to stop.
Baptizing the cats.
The cats, yes. So we had to talk about the fact that cats are, for multiple reasons, cats are not proper objects for baptism.
That's so
including being compassionate to
well,
animals.
so there is this element of, hey, take care of your environment,
That's
take
right.
care of
That's
the
right.
things around
Totally.
you. Don't just, but don't overlook the environment that's inside your house. So paint the picture. You stay at home, especially now during quarantine.
Yeah.
You're doing all the quick movements that are required to keep the plate spinning, to maintain the well-oiled, fine-tuned machinery that is your family. So you cook, you clean, you shuttle kids back and forth, you zigzag across the same path through the streets, the roads, concrete jungle multiple times a day. You're like, golly, am I going to make this drive again? No, I can't carpool. You're doing all that kind of stuff. You're handling, juggling the I need a snack request, and then trying to make good decisions on those snacks about not having toxins, like, okay, very little sugar. You're trying to make wise decisions, yet you might be making some unwise ones.
Yeah.
And it might not actually be completely your fault.
No, I mean that's part of the challenge of when things become normalized in a culture, and then they're made convenient.
Right.
Then that's what happens. You build those things into your life because you're trying to make the best decisions you can, but you're busy, and that's why people laugh about it's so hard to find good people to run for office because they're so busy being good people, having kids, taking them to school, working, like making the country go.
Right.
So you're trying to build in all these convenience factors as well as make healthy decisions. But if stuff's been normalized, that's where just like stepping back for a second about what we were talking earlier about realizing that health is first of all just very simple,
right?
Not easy but simple. Toxins and deficiencies. Well, people don't. A lot of times when people talk about health issues in the mainstream media, they don't frame it that way. It's always, well, you need to have something other kind of substance brought
you need
to
a shot or you need
a they don't ever start with not that medicine outside of you into doesn't have a place, but they don't start with your body. How are you designed? How does your body function? What's your immune system like? What's your diet like? What do you? So again, because the things have been made convenient, you bring them into your life easily, even with trying to make the best decisions you can. And if agencies that are meant to protect you are already telling you, hey, if just under half of the animals don't die, then we're going to make this convenient.
And if it was already a poison that was there, we're going to let it persist.
Right. And we're going to maybe call it good.
And they don't have to disclose what's in there because if it has that word, and that's what I want people to hear. If they hear that, if you read that word fragrance, that means secret ingredients that we don't want you to know about because they're toxic. That's what you need to replace.
Well, and even if they say, well, it's a trade secret, I understand from the perspective that you want to secure, safeguard your patent or your idea or creation, but on the other side,
but that's why you have a patent, so nobody else can use the same stuff. That's why you patent it.
It's one thing to patent, something that is not, but this is stuff that you're asking people to put on their body or put into their bodies. People have a right. They have a right to know, and they have a right to know using honest marketing and honest labels.
Well, that gets us to kind of maybe where we want to end this thing is the honest labels. There's this move because businesses are out there to make a profit, and that's not a bad thing. If they can't make the profit, they can't hire people. They can't continue doing research. So we're not anti-profit. What we would be is anti-dishonesty. Yep. So now there's this move because marketers have gotten savvy to this. Hey, people are
natural
researching, and natural and organic is kind of this new move. So
how can we grandfather in?
Well, and I think they're aware. I think in our book Boost, we cite that the global personal care industry is slated to hit by 2024 $650 billion. That's all personal care. So it's all hair products, all makeup, all cosmetics, all perfumes, all soaps, all 25 billion. So that's a huge subset is estimated to be specifically green. Mm-hmm. And this was before COVID. Now people are starting to catch on to go, maybe we need to get rid of some toxins.
Yeah.
So people are moving towards this chem-free lifestyle. So marketers are moving towards it.
Yeah.
And so now they're trying to pitch stuff to look green that's not. In order to make profit, they tend to drop standards on products. They tend to raise their marketing game. Let me give you an example. We cite this one in the book, and then let's get some feedback from you on it. Miss Myers. So I used to have Miss Myers products on my sink in the kitchen. I used to have the cleaning supplies underneath the sink to clean the restrooms, the toilets. Most people think when you have that image, because of the plain packaging, that this is a Midwestern grandmother who raised her family, who created these supplies in her garage, sold them to locals just to add money to her family's bottom line. The reality is there is a real woman named Thelma A. Meyer. She's a homemaker. She's from Iowa. She was born in 1954. The product was named after her to create marketing appeal. So, in other words, the marketing agency who packaged the products and sells her image, so you see this picture of this woman, and you go, "Oh, this is clean. This is just like grandma's got their look and
right.
feel and all this." You know, this is the same recipes that grandma made at home on her own and handed down. You know, grandma made these, cornbread. She made these cookies. You know, so she's delivered these natural home remedies for gunk and grime and everything. But that's not the case. They're marketing the image of things that are loaded with synthetics, that are loaded with toxins, that are loaded with fragrances. Because they use that word fragrance, you'll never know what's in it.
Yep.
They have an organic certification, or they don't have an organic, because in order to have an organic certification, you got to be 95% chemical free, meaning 5% can clearly be loaded with chemicals.
Right.
So you may have people out there that are trying to ditch and switch, but they're ditching one set of toxins and switching to another set. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. No, totally. And again, that gets back to like you're saying, the deceptive marketing and what people go for making convenient and easy to get to. On the other hand, what's clearly burned in my mind, and it was a really cool experience, was the first time I ever got to go to a Young Living farm was Highland Flats Farm.
Yeah.
And my favorite oil, Idaho Blue Spruce. So we're there, and of course they want to immerse you in the experience of the whole seed to seal process, right? So you seed the farm, the plants. We get to go out, get some trees, put them in the chipper, scoop it up, right? Drive in the Bobcat, put it in the steam distillation, do the steam distillation, run downstairs, got our vats, oil and water separates. We get the oil, we filter it in a bottle. That was it. Like it was. Maybe I shouldn't have been shocked, but like it really, really was seed to seal. Like it was from the farm, filtered to the bottle. No additives, it was incredible. And so that really was kind of a reset for me of, boy, what does it really mean by natural?
Yeah.
What does it really mean by organic? Well, that really is like,
that's it.
And it smelled just, very, I know that with different crops, the oils can be a little bit different smelling, but there's a general same smell to each to a particular essential oil, and it was like the oils I open at home.
But that would attest to the naturalness of it, that the rain affects it.
That's right. Yeah, the differences are naturally occurring differences.
Yeah,
right?
They're not going to be the same.
It's not. Whereas one of the not always, but one of the markers of synthetic additives is it's exactly the same. Because they force it to be by adding synthetics and so forth. But yeah, just that process of like, wow, that really was from the field to my bottle.
Yeah,
it was an incredible experience, and that was for me was a really wasn't just theory, it was an eye-opening experience. That okay, when we start evaluating our educational process of how do we determine if something is natural, is it organic, maybe we need to be really asking some serious questions about the ingredients in there, where they come from, and literally the processes that they go through to get from an idea in someone's mind to this product in my home. So I think that's part of it, is people just like people have to have a reset on how do I approach health. Health is not me checking my brain at the door, having no knowledge of my body, and just taking whatever some expert tells me. But I can be empowered to understand body systems. I can be empowered to begin to understand that the foundation is toxins out, deficiencies shored up, good things in, and see what happens from there. The same thing with your education on. We had a friend of ours who just got raked over the coals funny enough, by a major magazine, because she was encouraging people. I mean, think about this. She was encouraging people to research their own health. And that was the very topic that she got raked over the coals about. But then her living team grows like crazy because of it too. So, but the idea that there would be people out there, major news networks or major publications, who would take people to task for encouraging people that the foundational step of your health is first researching.
Yeah.
And your knowledge, increasing your knowledge.
Yeah, look at it, see what's there.
Elevate and change the way that you educate yourself about understanding your health and what you put into and on your body. And that's really where it all starts.
Right. Well, that's a good segue for us to kind of sign out right here. Again, to research, and I guess the two factors that are mitigating against you with that toxins and deficiencies setup is number one is that Toxic Controlled Substance Act, and just knowing, hey, it's a positive step that the government took, but it probably didn't go far enough.
Well was meant, well was intended.
Yeah, it's not to slam that. I mean, everybody, there are some. Gosh, with the political sphere now and everything that's out there, it's easy to look out there and go, hey, everybody's like got an angle and they're trying to mess things up. A lot of times people aren't.
Right.
I'm sure some people that were present there, but most people probably weren't. Most people are doing the best they can.
That's right.
And meaning well. And then this whole marketing greenwashing thing, there's probably some people there that actually think they're doing the best that they can. Just like the nurse giving us those Mr. Yuck stickers, thought, man, this is brilliant. This is a great step, but you can do better.
Don't just evaluate. Don't just evaluate what you're doing. Evaluate the standard.
Yeah.
In other words, like educational processes. Don't just say, okay, 47 out of 50 states are above this level. Well, what are we defining as the level that's acceptable?
Right.
So.
All right, so we're going to sign off. We'll be back in the next episode, and we're actually going to go through the 7 areas in your house that you can go to right now and start doing some investigative work. We'll tell you where to look, what's there, kind of what to ditch, what to switch to. That will be the next step. I would encourage you to do this. Go into the show notes. You're going to find a link to where you can go grab the Ditch and Switch book. You can also go to Oily App Plus, and we'll have a whole video of all of this stuff that's in there for you, where you can log in, you can look at it. That's going to be one of the classes in there with the 50 plus other classes by the time you add all the languages. I think there's 40-ish right now that are all exclusively in English. That's it. Let's sign off, and we'll see you again next episode.